and just kill who's ever on the high ground. Like, that's typically why we don't see Zarya and Reinhardt get run here a lot in really high level play. Usually it's like Winston because Winston needs to drop and get back up, or it's like Ball or something
Yeah.
like that. So, that's kind of like big picture stuff, and I don't know if it's really the kind of stuff you want to think about right now, but like as Sombra, having an understanding of the big picture game will win you games. Like you will single-handedly be able to deliver games to your team. Like, I mean, like I don't want to like throw shade or anything here, but like, players like Fitzy who I think like are able to unlock the power of Sombra, it
Yeah.
allows them to kind of get higher than I think they would ordinarily be able to get, just because I think Sombra's that powerful of a character. Like game sense gets you a really long way with her, because you know exactly who to shut down. Okay, so if we're looking at like who's on their team right now, who would you think would be the best to shut down in the beginning of the fight? Because that's like the first thing you want to think about. It obviously depends on who your team is pushing and stuff, but like in general, like out of the six you see here, who do you think are the best to like take offline with their abilities?
Mm, I mean, who need to be first hacked or
Yeah. So we're just saying like, yeah, who does the first hack go on? Who's your best hack target here?
mm, I guess just shield, right?
I think Ryan's
And
good.
maybe junk.
I think Junk you might have a little trouble with because it's like it's like, yeah, okay, he loses concussion, so he can't get those like precise follow-up kills. Like that's what at least that's what I use concussion for, like movement and like cleanup on a kill. But like he still has his M1, and really the thing that hurts your team from Junkrat is his M1, right? Because he hurts everybody as they come in, does chip damage, breaks shields, and then you guys don't have anything when you come in. So it's like taking his concussion offline, taking his trap offline. I don't think that solves
Yeah.
that problem. So I think
Anyway, tanks is
tanks, yeah. I
yeah, yeah,
I
like
think
Zaya bubbles, rain shield.
yeah, I think Rhine Shield is really, really good. I think Zarya Bubble is extraordinarily good. I think off tanks in general are going to be like a really, really good first hack target. Because like if you think about who the off tanks are, right? It's like Zarya, right? She puts a protective bubble on Rhine. So if you take her offline and you have Zarya, your Rhine gets a free fight win there. If it's
Yeah,
like think about like Diva, right? Like taking Diva Matrix offline is like literally right now the most important thing in professional meta. Is like literally your
yeah.
Sombra hacks the Diva so that your Reaper can push in. So like and like Sigma is going to be good too. But I think like a lot of it is also just kind of knowing how to like what to do with the hack itself. It's like you kind of have to be able to tell the team what to do with it. Otherwise it's going to be hard for them to get a lot of value. So like the tanks are going to be good, but like even getting a hack on like Sombra is good here, right? Because then it's like now you don't have that Sombra pressure on your main tanks or your tanks or whatever. Or if you
Yeah.
hack their like Moira, potentially you have an opportunity to kill her because she doesn't have fade. A lot of these things, it's like, uh, let me double check to see how long the hack lasts. Do you know off the top of your head?
Hmm.
Do you know how
Sorry?
long Sombra's hack effect lasts?
Not yet.
I'm looking at it. 5 seconds. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, so 5 seconds is not a terribly long time. Um, a lot of what needs to happen, and I guess this is kind of like the next time we do a VOD review, if you're able to, actually, I know you're able to. I'd like you to record your Sombra play with your comms so that we hear it. And I know you don't talk that much because it's like it's EU or yeah, it's like European servers, right? Because so like everyone speaks different languages, so like you either hear a little bit of English or not much at all. Is that how it works or no?
What, sorry? You too fast.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Sorry. Yeah, let me slow it down a little bit. Um, so you're in, so like you're playing on European servers. Do people talk much?
No, 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 no.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
Especially this game was uh, just without any communication. Just
Okay,
nobody talk.
okay, okay. So then maybe we can think about sort of how to like adaptively deal with that situation because I think like you're not going to be able to get Like, you're not gonna be able to force your teammates to cooperate, and unfortunately, that's like the best situation for Sombra. So it's like it's really good for you to queue with somebody else, like maybe a tank, because then they'll know sort of like you'll be able to tell them like, okay, push so and so, they're hacked, they're hacked, they're hacked. Because like if you do that with Sombra, like you'll just win every fight. You'll win neutral.
Yeah, I'm playing more with some party,
Okay, good, good.
and then I just talking who's hacking on or EMPs
Yeah.
build it or something like this.
Yeah. Okay, so like the one thing that I see though is like very, very slight timing mismatches a lot where it's like, like let's say like and this happens like to the team I coach. We'll have a Sombra get a hack on somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, they're hacked, they're hacked, they're hacked." And then like by the time anyone gets to them, they're unhacked and then we're super out of position and then we just get completely fucked. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it's like I think like
I know it. Yeah,
yeah, it's like it's really I think that's the hardest thing about Sombra is like not only understanding how you need to hack, but you also need to know where like how well your team can get to that opportunity. So I think
yeah, yeah.
it's just an additional challenge that I wanted to call out because it's like it's those are just one of the many areas that you can mess up as Sombra. So actually maybe let's do this from your first person perspective and then if we need to we can go into
Okay. Yeah, but I'm usually talking with teammates, even
Mhm.
if they don't talking with me.
Been here all along.
Yeah.
We'll look at all the fights in real time. Nice. Nice.
Okay.
Wow. That's a big deal that you pushed her out. She had health back too.
And this day I just was not alone at home, so I just can't literally speak.
Oh, nice.
This is my will. Be right back. Been
Okay,
here
you
all
are
along.
okay, you're taking a lot of time to set this up right now. This isn't worth it. You're better off like
Aw, thanks,
okay, well that
Sita.
was nice. It looks like your team was just like okay, yeah, look, look, look. You see where the Rhino's right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Guess where the rest of his team is? they're still up there. They're like getting destroyed.
Yeah,
And yeah, you can
yeah,
see
yeah.
that the Mora drop down with like no HP. So like that's the weakness of the composition they're on right now. Uh, so something that you should look to do as Sombra is get out, like put yourself in the spot where you know they're going or where you know you can catch them. So it's like if you think about where they start, just remember that they're going to have to go somewhere once they get pushed. So those two spots, right? Like point A, point B. You want to be somewhere between point A and point B. So that when they make that swap, like or basically so that you have access to hack them between A or B. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like a good spot for you here would be like up those stairs to the left. Here, like I can
Mm-hmm.
just break out of it. Like okay, I need to like okay, God. Okay. So a good spot for you would be like maybe like here even. Like you could even be like somewhere sneaky like here if they have like a, if they had a diva that was like looking for you or you could also be here.
Yeah.
And then this way you can while your team is pushing up, you have the option of pressuring them, which is exactly what you need. Like you can when you're out of the fight, you need to be thinking they have a DPS that's probably not out of the fight. So like any
I
downtime.
first time playing this time. Oh, I mean, I first time playing Sombra on this map.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I was saying. It's like you kind of need to know how Sombra plays on this map before you can like get value. It's like I've had to
yeah,
do
yeah.
VOD reviews with every Sombra I've had on this map and Eichenwald specifically. Like those two maps, for some reason, it's just really hard to play Sombra if you don't know all the spots. And so I think like, okay, so you have like that spot there, but remember
Mm-hmm.
like ultimately you have to be thinking about where they start and where they end up. It's like, okay, they start here probably, or they started here, and we know that they're probably going to end up here. And so that means you potentially have other options, right? Like you maybe can be here. You maybe can be on point. Like that's another option. Like if you're like inside here. I mean, I don't like. I honestly, I think the first place we looked at was by far the best, just because it gives you such good. As soon as basically the fight continues, you can stay on this high ground and just like get EMP like in one fight
Yeah,
and hack whoever you want. So yeah, like so I think we've got all the pieces here. I think like we know who we need to be hacking. We know where we can hack them from, and so then I think we can just watch the rest of this fight. Looks like you guys probably win this anyways. Let's
yeah, I
see.
hope so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, who knows? Okay, and then okay.
Feeling much better.
Yeah, see, it's like here you're basically Tracer, right? No, okay, no, you're not Tracer right there. That's a good hack. That's a really good hack. Their Rhine should be pushed right now. Yeah, see, they can push his Rhine, that Rhine for free. Nice.
Yeah, I think this hack was worth. I mean,
Yeah.
she already had no bubble. Yeah, it's just like reflex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In fact,
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the one where she was like 1 HP. Nice. Okay, so let's see what you do now. So yeah, so I mean, so I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on the actual like fight stuff itself unless there's something really crazy going on. In general, I think you can get the most value as Sombra in a fight on high ground, but the other thing that we're seeing a lot these days in the meta is Sombra following the main tank around and just getting EMP as quickly as possible because like that's what the pro meta is all about. So like you should think of those as sort of like two play styles that you can consider. One is sort of like in their back line, pressuring people, like just like making chaos for your team to get in, but also sort of
mhm.
like being backup focus fire for your team and like just going on what your main tank is going on and just EMPing their team every fight or as many, as often as you can.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm working here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. 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 So let's talk about where you can set up here and like what you're gonna be wanting to do. Okay, they made some swaps to garbage. Their composition is just fucking horrible now. It's really bad.
It's just blood.
Yeah, it's really bad. Yours is. I'm trying to think if whose is better. I actually think theirs is better because I think they have.
Yeah, yeah, I think for Sombra you can take just high ground
Yeah.
everywhere you can.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Now, like, now you have complete control over whatever you want to do, right? Like, there's like, who are they gonna contest you with at this point? Like, no one. There's like no diva that's gonna be checking for you. There's like no. I mean, there's like no McCree. There's no Brig. Like,
Yeah, maybe just Hammond.
yeah, but he's gonna be in your back line. So okay, okay, that's right. So that opens up another possibility. So like, again, with Sombra, you always are gonna have options, and one is to play back on your team and like just make balls life a living hell. And so like what that will usually do is get him to switch, but not after he gives your team streets for free. So like what you would do is kind of like chill with your main tank, chill with your Reinhardt, and then anytime that the ball comes in and he's probably going to be pushing your Zen, like you can probably just hang out by your Zen and then hack the ball anytime he looks like he's going to slam, hack him mid slam. He doesn't deal any
Yeah,
damage and your team just ruins him. Because like God knows that Zen is going to be discording that Hammond who's trying to get on him. So like you guys are going to melt him super fast. So that's like typically like uh when I play like when I'm coaching my team, like I'll tell them like, okay, we need to figure out who's engaging first. If they're consistently engaging first, you want to be playing back on your team as Sombra and like get that hack to shut it down. But if you guys are able to actually make a fight happen, I think it makes more sense for you to be upfront and like trying to like get an aggressive hack. So it's like those are the two sort of like things that you need to gauge. If we just look at the compositions, I would say, if we're trying to think about who has an easier time engaging, I would say it's probably them with ball. Like, because really what we're talking about is ball. Like, does ball engage before our team engages? If so, you can hack him and kill him before you guys even start the fight, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's kind of like the logic here. So it's like you can look at these rosters, these heroes, and say, okay, who's going to be the first person to fight? It's like, it's probably not going to be us, right? Because it's like we have a Reinhardt and we have a Roadhog, and look how far away we are from them. And we don't have a Lucio. So it's like we don't have like the speed to get in close. We aren't going to be the ones to get there first. So let's just chill, wait for the ball to come. And you could even put like Translocator like top right. Like as long as their ball's not rolling through that, as long as their soldier's not up there taking high ground, which frankly he kind of should be, um, that's fine too. Because it's like, let's say you hack the ball, kill them, you TP right on top of their team, start hacking them, your team pushes in. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you just keep that momentum going as quickly as possible. That's like down the road for us, but I think like that's kind of the stuff you want to be like. Those are the options you have. You really can kind of like do literally whatever you want as Sombra. I've never played Sombra really that much in competitive play, just a little bit, but I think it's a very good feeling. Just in terms of like the flexibility and freedom you have. Okay, so it's like okay, so I think optimally we hack ball then go in. Let's see if he feeds his brains out. If I mean some balls are good. They'll wait for like the Reinhardt and Hog to get up close rather than slamming early. In which case, I think you still have to make a decision about um, where you want to be putting your time. It like basically it's like, do I protect my Zen or do I try and kill something of theirs? Who do you think dies first? If we're thinking about racing, let's say like our front line pushes in and
I
their
don't
ball
know.
slams. Who do you think dies first? Their people or our Zen?
Zen for sure,
Zen
if
first,
I
yeah.
am not protected.
Yeah, like Zen
Yeah.
instantaneously. So I think like you can maybe think about a defensive play style here. I think it would probably be okay. But again, remember it's like starting defensive. It's never just actually, sorry, let me jump back to you. Okay. You're okay here. What are you doing? Oh my god. I thought you were dead there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, yeah, you took a little while to get set up. I think that was fine, because I think the Junkrat would have definitely concussioned you. Oh, there he is. And now you're just doing the Sombra stuff. Good. Good. Here, sorry, let me turn it down just a little bit. It's a little hard to hear you. Sorry, what'd you say?
Say can't hack Arisa.
Oh, yeah, she
I
fortified.
don't know. Yeah.
She either fortified or put the shield up to interrupt. I didn't catch it. Okay, ooh, where are you? Oh, whoops.
I'm on top.
Whoops. Okay, what are you doing here? Yeah, they're not gonna
I just
contest.
waited for maybe they will
Maybe they
attack
contest,
him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they have
then
ults, so it's
will
like, it's
just
not totally... Oh, what the hell?
yeah junk.
Sorry.
Don't mind me.
Oh, the Junkrat's to the left.
Yeah, yeah.
He was shooting
I
the
don't-
ball, and then, yeah,
I
the
just
concussion.
didn't realize about him.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, there aren't a lot of people who fight out of there, so makes sense. I think it's just the fact that your Reinhardt is down below. So like I don't know. I think the Junkrat actually got split from his team. He mispositioned, so he shouldn't have been there.
I might need this later.
Go, 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 go. Your team is fighting. Your team is fighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get in there. Something that like I think something you should also think about is like dropping EMP even before the outcome of the fight is determined. Like your team is probably going to get mad at you and say you're throwing, but like, you know, in that situation, I think it was justifiable to think about using EMP there. Like when the Riptire was out. Just because actually, you know what? No, never mind. That's a bad idea. I was just sorry. Yeah, I forgot what Riptire.
Riptire disabled by EMP
Mm,
or
I think it might. Let me see. EMP. I don't know anything about this game anymore. I
I
swear to
think
God, I used to know all this
Riptire is
stuff.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay, yeah. Ah, so since okay, I see how the logic of it works. Okay, so like the tire itself is an entity.
Yeah,
Like, it's like you can spectate the Riptire. So the Riptire only has one attack, M1. Its M1 is to explode, and it's not an ability, so you're not disabling it, I guess. That's
yeah,
like the
yeah,
logic.
yeah.
Okay. Um, but okay, so for EMP or for Riptire, you wouldn't do it because of the way that it makes your team act. It makes your team hide and like back up and like cover. So like EMPing is not the best thing to do there because when you EMP, you want your team to be all in pushing them. So like you can't EMP there. But in other ults, sometimes it makes sense. Just based on if you think your team can move up and get the kill, and if you think they will move up and get the kill, it's justifiable to use EMP while they're ulting. And this is all sort of like with the goal of me helping you. Oh, is it K Wookie or is it Kookie? Either way, thank you so much for the raid and welcome everybody. I hope you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about Sombra
Go
play.
cookie. Yeah.
But thank you. Hope you had a great stream. Okay, yeah. So what were we talking about? We were talking about Riptire EMP counter. Okay, yeah. So yeah. So the idea with EMP is that it's a tempo play. So there are certain ults in this game that are value generating, like they win the fights. So it's like, for thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next to games, welcome, welcome. Um, there are some ults that will win you the fight. I would say like EMP is technically one of those. Trance is one of those. If we're looking at all of the ults on your team, those are the only ones. And then on theirs, they have yeah, okay, they have beat. So you guys each kind of have like one
Hello
because
there.
the rest of these are thank you for the follow. These are all ults that I think like none of them really sort. If they're not like Grav. It's like they're not like Gravitic Flux. They're not like just complete team wipes that we're like okay we arrange and build all of our strategy for the next fight based on this ult. It's a tempo ult. Like EMP is a tempo ult. So like you need to be thinking about using it any time where you think your team is losing momentum.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Yeah, BLM indeed. Um, but yeah, so I think like whenever so it's a good example would be if they use coalescence, right? Well, for coalescence is no brainer, right? Because you actually just take coalescence offline with EMP. But I mean, I guess the things you can think about here are using it for beat. You can think about using it for like, and then basically to counter. I would say every ult except probably Bongo. I don't think it works well with Bongo. I don't think it works well with Riptire, and I don't think it works well with Visor. And the common theme between those three is that those ults will make your team hide. And when your
No,
team's
Bongo disabled with
Oh yeah,
EMP, as I know.
You're right. Okay. So then
Yeah, yeah.
so then I guess it's just those two. So then those are the only two you really have to worry about cuz even mines it's fine. Got to get the kid up. Okay, awesome. Sounds great. Hope to see you soon. Okay, so yeah, so I think those are the kind of ways you can think about using it, but it looks like they didn't get anything done with the Riptire. EMP! Are you dead here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the visor
Okay.
came out, and see, it's like visor, right? It like scatters people. And if you want, I think it might be helpful to look at this in third person, maybe? Let's do that. Do that real quick. Okay, so you just dropped EMP at this moment, I think. Or pretty close to it.
Cease your resistance.
Yeah, okay, it's coming here. Okay, let's take a look at where everybody is. So I think your EMP was good. I mean, you hit really good people with it. You got both their supports. You got the Junkrat, so now he can't really do anything. So that's awesome. Um, and I think really to try and get any more would be greedy. So I think this is perfect. The one problem, of course, is that like where you're ending up with it. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know, if it's like I think you probably get the feeling that like once your Zen trances, like you're like probably safe. It's like your team is there, it's fine. But like with your Rhine dead, you don't have anything. So translocating in is tough here. And actually, just not having the Rhine in general, like if you lose people at the end of any fight in their spawn, like you really just have to be thinking like, what's the likelihood they snowball this back with spawn advantage? Because it's like almost always going to happen. Like you need to very, very definitively crush the fight
yeah,
to keep them from getting any respawn advantage and just snowballing back. And then the real problem with that situation is that like they also build ult economy back up because it's like they'll be trading people off over and over and over again, but they're also just working ult economy and like dragging the fight out. Like it's like their incentive is to make that fight last as long as humanly possible. Yours is to make it as short as humanly possible. So like I think it's also maybe like actually, your Rhine went down after the EMP, so fine. Yeah, that's fine. But those are all decisions you want to be thinking about. But yeah, it just looks like, okay, your Rhine's down, they get snowball advantage back. Their soldier is where? Where is he?
right. Behind.
Behind? Like there? Oh yeah,
And
okay, he's right. Okay, he's like literally right on top of their ball. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and so he's just also in a really open spot, which is great for him with Visor. And that since you guys don't
yeah,
have a Rhine, it's like the juiciest thing ever. As long as he doesn't aim at your hog, like you guys are losing this fight.
yeah. We lose this fight as I remember.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It's like, pretty much any time you're here and you're like, if you're doing as well as them here, you lose. Just because they've got the spawn. Okay. Yeah, so for all of you tuning in, you guys probably figured this out already, but we're doing a plat DPS VOD review. I am a coach for I don't know, 4K to 4.5K team. I've been coaching for 2 to 3 years. Okay, so yeah, now you guys are just doing the reset thing. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now let's see where you... Oh, okay. That is ranked for you. Okay, so we're trying to think what you're doing here. You're trying to farm EMP. Your job right now, in general,
Yeah,
is to just farm the shit out of EMP on their hog.
Been here all
yeah.
along.
Our ball.
Yeah, honestly, I think maybe the ball too, because it's actually since you know the ball has mines here, we know what he's gonna do, right? And we know where he's gonna do it too, because he's probably got a P brain. So where's their P brain ball gonna do it? Like I'm looking at the ult economy, and I think I know exactly what's gonna happen. At least I'm making a prediction right now. What do you think? This is something that you want to make a habit out of doing. So if you're their ball, just think about being their ball. Where are you ulting here?
Where I'll ulting here?
Yeah, where if you're their Hammond, where is he gonna slam and drop mines on this next fight? Like where on the map?
Mm, I think where is Hog? Maybe
Yeah, you're thinking.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
and you're thinking kind of like here, right?
No.
Oh,
I mean left inside this. Where we going? I
okay.
mean,
I think he's gonna.
let me just.
I think it's gonna be
Yeah,
here. I think he's gonna be right here. He's gonna wait for you guys to get here, and then he's gonna mines, or he's gonna wait for you guys to get right here, and then mines in the
yeah.
back when his team pushes on the corner. So it's like those two spots. It's like, and you're gonna know exactly where based on where your team is too. So you can kind of use your team's position to You can use your team's position to dictate when the engagement is happening. Next to games. What, never been seen for you? What, you're too high above or too far below? Um, but yeah, so like so the reason I'm talking about this is just so that you know sort of like what your window of opportunity is to act, right? Because your decisions are going to change based on where you think they engage, right?
Mhm.
So it's like if you think their ball is going to come down here, that changes when you need to be in their team compared to when you're here or when their ball is going to be dropping here. So you kind of have to like understand which is going to be happening. You need to kind of like track him and like see where he is, and then you need to make sure you're in a relevant position to respond to that. Too far below. You don't have time to grind this game. Me neither. Next to games, I barely play this game anymore. I just coach. Yeah, stop by anytime if you're curious in getting coaching or whatever. But good luck with studying. Also, I'm a tutor. You should reach out to me if you need help in like every class. Okay, so that's my prediction. Is like their ball engages here or engages back there. Based on where he is now, he can't engage back there unless your team is just hella slow. Your Rhine is still coming up, like
Yeah.
Rhine. So the fight doesn't happen for a while. He maybe gets set back up. So if I'm you right now, I'm watching their ball to see where he's going to be ulting to make sure that I can like at least get a hack off. Like you can hack him and interrupt everything too. So that's like another option. And since you don't really have a lot, your team doesn't. Eh. Actually, I think if you control ball here, your team pushes in with ults and you guys win. Nice. That's so huge. And your Zen is just there's a Moira. Yep, there's a Moira. Ooh, why? Okay, cool. Okay, you only lost Moira. Cool. I thought you might have been losing more people. That's so nuts to me how you were at like 30% like a second ago. Farm EMP. Okay, nice. Okay. I was gonna say you could have just farmed EMP on the hog and get the EMP off faster. Unlucky. And you guys lose this? Yeah, you lose this. Shit. Okay. Hold on. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, it's plat.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, the big thing that you have to do as a player is just think, okay, what could I have done differently? It's like, how could I have possibly ripped us from the jaws of defeat? Because I mean, and the nice thing is Sombra can kind of do that. Russian, maybe. So I think someone asked if you were Russian in the chat. Uh, okay, so let's think about this. I'm trying to just think about the timeline of what happened in that fight. So you got the kill on the ball, and then I think your soldier pushed in with visor right away, and then that pulled people in maybe prematurely. Oh, rip tire hat. Or wait a second, is this the last fight? Yeah, okay. This is okay. So cool, cool, cool. And then you and actually, if I'm not mistaken, you and the soldier kill this guy. So yeah, so there's their ball getting chunked. Yeah, you and him kill him. And now what happens? I'm trying to figure out. And you get that kill. Rip tire. Okay, your Reinhardt dies.
Mm-hmm.
And oh god, the real problem is just that your team falls back so damn far here because of the rip tire.
Yeah.
And now it's like, yeah, and it causes the more. I mean, really, just the fact that you're going without shield, Junkrat comes up on top of you. It's like hard to keep your Moira alive in this situation. The one thing I think maybe you can do here is try and figure out a way to pressure their Junkrat off high ground. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think that's kind of what would need to happen there. If you keep your Moira alive on that push, I think you guys potentially win this, right? Because you have enough momentum. You have 5 people. You're gonna have EMP. You're gonna have trance, and you would be going in with coalescence. So I think you sort of acknowledging that Junkrat or really anyone being on the high ground when your team comes in is a bad thing, and like just making sure you deal with
Yeah.
that, I think is gonna do a lot. And so it's like, but you want to be doing that. It's like you want to be doing that if this is a Junkrat, if it's a Reaper, if it's a soldier, anybody, right? It's like you never want to give anyone access to your squishies just because they have high ground. Because Sombra's really
Hmm.
good at dislodging people, right? You can overcommit to that 1v1, and he's going to be the one that has to back off first in general. Oh, wait. This person needs help with Russian, Woody.
Really?
Yeah. I yeah, well next to games, we do have a Russian person in VC if you have any quick questions. Uh okay, so let's see. Yeah, so okay, so I think you take the Junkrat off high ground and that's it. I think that's really the only thing that you can do differently here. I think for the most part it's just relatively minor things. Okay, and we'll just let this go. You're just failing Russian? Are you actually failing? Because get off. Don't watch me. Go study if you're actually failing. As much as we love your company. Yeah, this is a yeah, it's like this is a reset. Sucks. That sucks. And so I guess yeah, when you lose your Moira going in like that, I think that's also the red light on EMP. You don't have your main support, you don't have your main tank, so like hold EMP. That's what I was really trying to figure out. Was like, did we have enough information to know we hold EMP? And I think we did. I think you don't use it there. Okay, so you guys are split pushing like a mug. Let's see. What is their Lucio? Their Lucio is like really trying to get the boop on you guys. I'm guessing that's why he's
Yeah,
overcommitting to the right
maybe.
side. And he's like, okay, I'll take this 1v3 and just boop them all off. But let's see. Okay, so he just came off the wall. And yeah, he's going in for it now. I'm guessing he's going to try and knock. I think he's going to knock you off. Yeah. And you're
Yeah,
back.
but I saved.
Yeah, of course. It's like the dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it so stupid. Now he's dead.
Yeah.
The best intentions. Something to keep in mind, though. He kind of did his job, right? If he had managed to, like, somehow get out or not overstay his welcome, uh, he forced you out of the fight, kind of for free, right?
Mm.
Because you had to TP out. And so I guess like if your TP was in a good spot and you're like already able to follow up quickly, which I don't think you are actually. I think that was kind of, so that's the kind of thing you want to be thinking about. Even if he does something that's a feed, if he gets value on you, like you just need to guarantee that like stupid stuff can sometimes work, right? Like,
Yeah.
but being a smart player, you'll have tools to play around that. So it's like
Hmm.
really just, position in that situation, just position yourself up against the wall. Like, like just don't give him the boop. So that you can just counter push on him and just continue to push right through with no loss of momentum. Like the big thing with Sombra that I'm trying to emphasize with you throughout this whole VOD review is that Sombra is all about taking momentum in a fight. It's like all about momentum. So like you need to know like when your team is losing momentum and when your team has an opportunity to take momentum. And so that I
Yeah.
think is one of those situations. If you can manage to not get forced out, you take momentum back there. So I think about it that way. And then you're here. Sorry, let's get back to Woody Cam.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give
Yeah,
TP.
I mean, did they drop more ults than you? No, you had trance. What? Okay, I'm not gonna go into the macro that. I don't want to waste too much time. Okay, let's see. On this push, you EMP. You guys have everything except trance, so that's good. They have everything except hog and soldier. Ooh.
Yeah, huge.
And why? Why visor here? For anyone in chat, if you're not familiar, don't do this. The reason you don't do this is because the targets are on the ground, and you can quite easily hit the headshot here. So
Yeah.
visoring is just going to nerf your damage on these targets. Anytime you're shooting into a grav or a shattered target, or anytime a stationary target, do not use visor. Trust your aim. Hit him in the head. And now he just gets pushed. That's good. Actually, that was a fantastic play because he baited the diva away. And now you guys just have a free nano whole hog,
Yeah.
which maybe isn't the best ult to have here, but like, I mean, he gets that for free. Their diva should have been there for that, not your visor.
Again, lose.
You know, this is really common. Like, we even see this in pro play. We see a lot of teams get stopped on third. Like, a lot of teams. Good ones. So, like, honestly, here, a lot of the times is considered a win. Ooh, Ryan. Why would you do that? That was really bad. That was an awful pin. I'm trying. Okay, so, okay. I think it's. I'm trying to think if it's worth considering switching off of Sombra here. I don't think so. I think Sombra's still playable here. I just think it's harder. The tough thing
Yeah.
the tough thing about Sombra here is that, like, okay, so think about the spots that Sombra does well in, right? You know, if we're kind of like, okay, like, where is Sombra really a problem? Let's say we're the defending team. That's a good way to like for these spots to jump out at us, right? So it's like, okay, here, right? Like, this is probably like a good area for Sombra to be, or like over there, or
Yeah.
up on that high. It's like it's always going to be some high ground, low ground thing. And something that we
Mhm.
notice about third, I wish I had that internal monologue next to games. Uh, there's no monologue even. It's just like, is shift up? So here's the one spot where you have like high ground, low ground stuff and some cover to play around. And so it's like, and they usually have people over here. So it's like, I think like maybe here-ish is like an okay entry point for you. Like maybe just down here. So it's like you can potentially like push their low ground, get up to high ground, and then rotate, get up here while your team is still pushing.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's going to be a fruitful spot for you if they're holding here. But I think basically if they're not positioning around here, you should consider swapping. Because I think, you know, how do you really make stuff? I mean, you can make stuff happen as Sombra playing around these right doors too. You can kind of get in there. You can kind of get in there. But I think other than that, it's kind of really hard to like get freedom as Sombra. I don't think you have the same freedom that you have on the rest of the map. So I think that's a consideration, but I think if you stay on Sombra, which is perfectly fine, here is probably like a decent place to go. But like then again, if they know that, and if you're successfully doing that every push, they'll know that you're there. So gotta mix it up. So hack targets. Who are you thinking right now?
30 seconds remaining.
Mm. I don't know.
This is what
You
you gotta think
first.
about. Who? No, just look at. Okay, so what you should the question I'm really asking is who has the most valuable abilities that get value
Oh wait.
the whole fight.
Uh, Diva for sure.
For sure,
But
Diva.
it's baby Diva, but I don't know.
Okay. No, 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 no. I think you're 100% right. I think it's for sure Diva here. Especially because you have a Rhine and a Brig who will be for sure pushing stuff. And a soldier, I guess, which is where a lot of your damage is gonna be coming from. I think it's like more compelling when you have something that does a lot of close range damage, like a Reaper, but I think it still does the trick here because I mean that's really what Diva's going to be using in the beginning of the fight because they don't have shield.
Yeah.
So yeah, Diva's matrix is going to be super constrained. So you get that hack off and you're good. So like you want to be setting up not just a hack on their Diva, but you want to be kind of thinking about what you're going to tell your team and tell them who to push.
Yeah.
Roadhog and Reaper. Roadhog is good. Next, the only problem, so like the thing that I was talking about with Woody earlier next is that like hack only lasts 5 seconds, right? And so it's like if we get that engage, it's and we're talking about engagement hacks. So like part of that is my mistake for not clarifying, but like if we get like for engagement hacks, if we hack the hog, by the time we actually get him down to low HP, he's vape like his vape is back online again. And Reaper, usually the same story with Fade. So it's like those are all good hacks and they open up legitimate opportunities, but the real problem is that like the team is usually not going to have time to follow up and like especially in ranked play, you have to give them almost no credit in terms of how quickly they follow up. So like those are harder to get value off of, but it's very hard to say any hack is bad.
Always leave yourself a back.
But I think Reaper and Hog are good because if you make them fall back, you know, they lose pressure. So I get the logic there. If I'm you, I'm trying to farm
All along.
If I'm you, I'm trying to farm EMP super fast, rather than focus on one specific target. Because, like, think of it this way: where, like, you're at third right now, they have spawn advantage. Which do you think is going to be worth? Getting the kill here and pushing and trying to push the payload in, or waiting potentially a fight to get EMP and try and attempt a team wipe?
I'll build in EMP. I don't know.
I think EMP is probably the real issue here is spawn advantage. Like if you get a kill early, so like what I'm talking about is like, you know, if you're going after a specific kill rather than trying to farm their tanks for EMP, like yeah, you might force a target out, you might even kill that target, but if you look at where the payload is, that person's going to get back before the map ends. Whereas with EMP, you go for
Hello
the
there.
clean wipe, which is kind of what you need because of their spawn advantage. Like so like when you're thank you for the or thank you for the host and the follow. Thank you very much. But yeah, so it's like you want to be thinking at this stage in the game, what your team needs is a team wipe. So you should try and set
Yeah.
your highest priority to be ult farming. And since their diva is down, you don't have anyone to, you know, it's like you don't have like a number one target to hack first. I mean, just yeah, I mean you're probably gonna do it here, but farm the shit out of the hog. You'll probably have EMP by the end of the fight or before the end. Oh, and he killed your Ryan. You get EMP here though.
Now repair routine.
Oh, it's 5 seconds. You're right. Ah, shit. Like I said though, this is good. This is still good progress. Nice. That's really good.
EMP?
What happens? What happens? Oh god. Nice. Hog, 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 hog. Nice. Oh, and the soldier. Nice. That was great. That was really good cleanup. Yeah, I think you made a lot of good decisions there. And was all in the middle of the fight, which is the hardest thing to coach. All the stuff that I talked about with you is like, you know, stuff you can think about before the game. But I think the hard stuff you kind of had that figured out, so that's good. So now we're gonna see Woody's defense.
Everything can be hacked. And everyone.
Last minute check. Everyone squared away?
Okay, so I'll ask you here. What do you think you're doing here? Like, what do you like? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do as Sombra here on defense? And the way you should think about answering that question is where do I think they're going to push in, and how do I think I can be most useful?
I remember here I was just AFK, and it's not me.
Sure.
But
Okay, well then we won't judge what you do, but like now that you have the time to
yeah,
think about it, where would you be? Where do you think you should be? Because that's really what this is about.
I think I can try to hack low mega under
Mm.
our high ground and put their translocator, but
Are you talking about
it's
this mega?
no, another one.
The other one over here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And also I can catch if someone will go in there, if they will destroy my translocator.
Hmm.
And one more, maybe I can put translocator on stairs, maybe.
Stairs.
Yeah, around of there.
Okay. All right. So let me think about this. When I think about so the big thing that I think I'm noticing with your Sombra play is that you're playing you're playing with Translocator in a way that's keeping you out of the fight. Like it's forcing you to stay down and like to leave fights or rotate out of fights in times where you really don't want to be rotating. You know, we saw it a little bit on first where you were underground in the mega and like they were pushing up on or your team was pushing up on high ground. It was fine. It like totally worked out, but I think like if their team is better than yours, they're going to win there because you're out of the fight for that long. So like you want to be
Yeah,
careful
yeah,
about
yeah.
yeah, so it's like the thing you really want to be careful about for um, first translocator placements is that you don't want them to be walking into it before they fight your team. Because what that means is they get to just completely undo your game plan, right? Like let's say they instead decide to push low ground, it's like they're gonna kill that on the way, and then it's like, well then I guess what's the plan? Or let's say they don't even. Let's say they have some one person down here or something, two people down here, or they do a split push with like 3-3 and they push in, but they also have people here. I guess I don't know. You translocate behind them and it's okay, but it's an awkward situation. I think it's the kind of situation that you could make work, but it's not ideal. So like the the one translocator idea I really liked was this one, and I think it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like okay, I'll tell you sort of like straight up what I would try and do as Sombra in general. I would be on the high ground here probably, like here or here, depending on, it's like if they path coast, I'm here. If they path there, I'm here-ish. If they
Yeah.
path high ground, you could pick either, really. Or if they path below, you're up here. But either way, the idea is basically you want to be on the high ground, getting a hack as they come in. That's like, in general, ideally what you want to be doing as Sombra. You want to be dealing like damage to farm EMP early, so that means you can potentially put a translocator here or here to the spot where you think you're really going to be holding, and you can be up here getting up in their shit, farming EMP really early. And it's like, potentially that's like 20% or something, which is not like not trivial for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like you kind of want to be thinking about the high grounds a lot. Maybe not for your translocator spot, but like the big thing for your translocator is that you want to put it in a spot where if you get forced out, you will be immediately back in a relevant position with your team. So a lot of the time, what Sombras will do is they'll try and figure out where their supports are playing. So if they have like a Zen or an Ana that doesn't move a lot, they'll throw translocator there. So the idea is, okay, I push and push and push. If I get forced out, they're pushing in right now, but now I'm in my back line, right? They like my supports will just heal me back up. I can just push back with my team and there's no loss. And like that's the goal with Sombra is to like make sure there is no downtime. Um and then the I'm trying to think like I was gonna say something else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And then the other thing is it's like they also just heal you right back up. So it's like don't think about playing around the mega because you need the mega. Like use your supports more. The other
Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah.
So you also help them farm ult charge too. It's like a very, very small amount, but
Yeah.
it makes a difference. And then the other reason you do that is if they have a flanker pushing your backline, you can be there instantly.
Yeah, but better using in this case using your own Ana. I mean, from your group
Hmm.
or
True.
because in plat some I
They
can't
won't heal you.
believe
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah I can't believe in this supper. I
Yeah.
just
That's
I
yeah. You
play
you
in
got to feel
plat
that
a
out.
long time. I know our
You're
healers.
like,
They're
you
lying.
may know this game, but I'm an expert at plat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
feel you.
better I'll use in just heal pack. That's all.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you got to feel the
But
situation
yeah,
out.
it's a good tip. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to.
I
Yeah.
don't thinking about it.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course. Yeah, that's the struggle is like if you have any understanding of like optimal play or like organized play or whatever, it's like if you
Hmm.
just have high level play, the big challenge in ranked is understanding the level that your teammates are playing at, right? Because it's like obviously the higher of the level that you play at, the more you cooperate, the better of chances you're going to have to win, but that stuff goes completely wrong when they have, like when they just aren't prepared to sort of think about that kind of stuff. So I totally get that. Feel the situation out, but I think that's the ideal. Okay, so let's see. You said you were AFK.
Yeah. I'm just going to PC.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, but I'll come back now.
Defend objective
Okay. Yeah, I like the spot where you're at. Oh, okay, so I'm not, hold on, I'm not looking right now, but I'm sensing some downtime here. Yep. Yeah, you should be shooting, hacking, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, we didn't need that. We didn't need the hack, right? Because your Mei was freezing the Ash.
Yeah. But
Yeah, see,
maybe
don't go
should
for the hack. Go for the damage here.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing. You go for hack first, then damage. And I think in some situations you should think, can I just get damage here? Because that's preferable. Yay. Wow, that worked. Okay, nice.
See you later. Ahorita
I
regreso.
see the logic there. I think you could have stayed a little longer because he was around the corner. But I like the cautious play. You have EMP, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my god, your Zari has Grav already. It's been a minute.
Yeah, they destroyed. So
Yep.
if I call talk, I'll call just they low.
Ooh. Okay, this is a great situation to look at because I think
Damn it.
okay. So like this is a classic situation as Sombra, right? You're waiting for them to push in. They haven't pushed in, but your team has decided to engage them. So
Yeah.
your team has taken, like, your main tank has taken a fight, or your Mei, it looks like, has taken a fight that you can't be a part of where you are right now. That's a problem. Like,
Yeah.
you should kind of have, like, Mei is a main tank. I 100% agree. Um, you should always have like this sort of like nagging feeling in your head, right? That's like, I'm not getting value. I'm not getting value right now. Like right now, if I'm like the feeling that I have in my heart right now is I'm not getting value, and that's a problem. So like, where do you think you potentially get value here? Like, what do you think you could do as Sombra here to be relevant to this fight?
Maybe flanking and hacking. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, flanking and hacking is
But,
almost always the answer on Sombra. But how
yeah.
would you? Okay, yeah, but I agree. So I think yes, you're right.
Like yeah, maybe my wrong was I'm waiting just on defense spot, but I maybe more whether I can just stay behind them maybe and just checking
Yeah.
where they will go in.
The more I look at this fight, like the less confident I am that I've given you the right advice, because this is just a goddamn mess. Like, I don't want to try and give you recommendations when everyone's doing crazy shit, and this is definitely some crazy shit happening right here. Um, I think that, like, in general, what I said is true. Like, you want to be doing that, you want to be thinking that. If for some reason you are positive that your team will lose the point if you don't come in here, then go in and drop EMP. That's what you want to do. I mean, because like I want to tell you how to become the best Sombra player ever, but more than that,
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you how to win games. Like you need to know how to be able to win games, and I'm telling you, there's a chance that your team loses this fight because of your Mei dying here. So you got to feel that situation out. If you lose your Mei here, that's a huge problem. The fact that your Rhine is not in right now is a bad sign. Um, but that's where a counter tempo EMP potentially has a lot of impact. Did these issues kind of like make sense?
Also, their Lucio have sound barrier.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you guys are probably tracking that. Like that's for you. You want to think about like another thing you need to be thinking about is Sombra is whose ults you're trying to disable with EMP if you're trying to do that, or like who you want to hack. And Lucio's always going to be the target almost. So like you're going to want to look to track his EMP the whole game if or track his barrier the whole game if possible. But yeah, like I was gonna say, or like I was saying, it's like the first thing you said, flank hack, flank push, generally gonna be fine. I think in this situation you might not have time for it. So like, I don't know, play it out. But if it looks like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like okay, since it's a ranked, maybe the 6v5 isn't necessarily gonna be a win. It's like I'm trying to like adjust how the game should work to how it is going to work. This is a tough call. This is actually I think a pretty tough call. I would say, if you're sure your Mei's gonna die, I think you consider going in with EMP, but you don't go past your Rhine. Like you probably don't go past your Rhine. Like I would make sure that your tanks know what to do here, though. Like if I were you, I would be yelling at my tanks. I'd be yelling at my Mei, somebody, one of those two groups, and be like, okay, one of you needs to change. Um, But like I'd say you potentially going with the EMP. The other option you have, if they kill your Mei, have everybody wait outside and then just EMP him as
Mm-hmm.
soon as they get through this door. So it's this. I guess it's like you can sort of maintain the same playstyle, but ideally you kind of want to be dealing pressure, and you potentially have a chance to reverse this. But I think now that I think about it, it's an unnecessary risk for you to go in here because I think you potentially can hold this point with EMP from up here, even if your Mei dies. Okay, yeah. Sorry that took me like 20 minutes to figure out. Okay, let's see what happens. Does your Mei die?
Let's
Whoa.
see. Oh, Rain.
She walled.
Rain dead.
Hold up. Sorry. Let me just, like... Yeah, your Mei's like, I'm gonna go in and wall stuff. Your Rhine's a homie. He died. And their diva sucks. How did their diva not eat that? Plat. Never mind. Sorry, I should be watching you, my friend. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, that's my.
No!
Yeah.
Don't hack her. Don't hack her there. I don't think it's worth. Oh no.
I'm okay. Yeah, I know probably Lucio have base, so he already.
Yeah, but I mean,
did
the
it.
fact is,
Okay,
you
I
thought he
didn't
had it, which
realize
is totally fine.
I'm on fire.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think like your mid-fight hacks and stuff are actually pretty good, which is awesome to see. You wish you had a ranked game right now.
Miss me?
You're a Widow main? That's dope. There's nothing a Widowmain can do in bronze. What? Give me your like, dude. Give me a VOD. I'll help you. Oh, that hack was good. If it had been a little earlier, it would have been better, but that's so good. And what is their diva doing? Oh my god. This is a mess. Yeah, I mean, I think you're fine right now. Hack Bob. Ah, you're taking
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
hack fighter.
Yeah, like the... I think when they send the Bob in, the first thing you should try to do is make sure that you're not the one getting targeted. So just like, get
Mm-hmm.
high ground, get back. Just make sure you're behind a teammate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have any? Yeah, bro. I'm saying when you get some next. Holler.
¿Qué tal?
Sorry, this all looked pretty standard and fine. I think this was all good. I just wanna, yeah, that dynamite was legendary. But the sleep was really good from your Ana. That's fine. That's fine. Tracking looks okay there. I think it could be better, but it looked okay. I think that was mostly good.
I might need this later.
Let's see. Now, if I'm you, I'm up on high ground, waiting to EMP them on their last push in. Oh, okay. You're okay. I'm very briefly gonna take a small detour to ramble about Quake 3 for a second. So, uh, I don't know. Do you watch a lot of Cooler VODs?
Maybe.
You look like like what you're doing right now. I feel like is what Cooler would do. Like if you've ever seen Cooler play duels, for anyone who's still watching on stream, um, Quake 3 Arena had maybe I think it's the highest skill cap game mode of any game, any
Yeah,
first-person
yeah,
shooter I think that's ever existed, and it's 1v1 duels. It's like, basically two
yeah.
players are playing on a map. They are trying to control item timings. They're trying to kill each other, all that stuff. And Cooler was one of the famous Russian players of the early 2000s, I guess, and 2010s when it became Quake Live. And the play style described for Cooler was a boa constrictor because he would go in and he would literally take every single item on the map from you. He would take small health. He would take large health. He would damage himself so that he could take all of the items off the map and away from you. And like this is what Woody's doing right now. Woody is locking down all of the health packs that they can take on the way in, which is which is my long-winded way of saying this is the most goddamn Russian thing I've ever seen. No, but I think it's great. The real problem here, I think, is that like you don't want to prioritize it over the value that your EMP gets, because the EMP just ends the fight. You know, the health packs are nice, but I think the more important thing is you're on the high ground, disabling the one ult they have to win them the fight. And which ult is that?
Mhm.
Which one? They don't have it right
I'm
now, but
sorry. Then,
what's the ult that you're worried about here on their team?
What's ult? What?
Yeah,
I'm worried about.
their ultimate. Like so like okay, so what I'm saying is like your Sombra, this is their last push, right? They have 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So your job really should be with your EMP to kill the one thing they have that can win them the fight. It's like you don't necessarily want to go for a 6-man ult. Like you just need to like take the pieces off the board that they can win with. And so remember we talked about like the tempo ults versus like team fight big ults. What are the big ults they have? Like just I'm not saying like the ones based on the percentages. I'm saying based on the heroes. Who has the big ults on their team?
Farah.
What? Farah? Farah insta dies. I mean, I guess like in some
I don't
world
know.
maybe.
They have no hit scans.
Yeah, but you have like an Ana who can sleep. I mean, they have a diva, I guess. I don't know. I'm not super worried about the Pharah. Also, they just switched to Pharah, I think. So let's say,
Yeah,
okay,
but in plat Farah
is
uh,
scary.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
they just can't counter it.
okay.
So better just kill Farah first, I think. But yeah, here I'm
Hmm.
just waiting a moment for EMP. I think
I'm trying to
like
think. I think that's like okay. I get what you're saying. I'm wondering if you can get by with just hacking Pharah because Pharah is really bad at interrupting hacks. Like the thing that I'm thinking about right now is beat. Like
yeah, right,
I'm really
yeah,
worried about their beat. So like I would almost save EMP to solo their Lucio. And if he's good and he has beat, he's gonna make you solo him. He's like gonna force you to choose just him, which is
yeah.
fine
Maybe
because
maybe this is what I thinking about in this time, but I
maybe.
just don't remember.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, sure, sure. I mean, again, this is like
Let's see.
the one thing that like I try to always do in VOD reviews is like disconnect what we're talking about now and what you were thinking about then. It's important for you to know what you were thinking about here, but your decisions don't need to be right. You know, it's like that's all past. You know, your current understanding of the game is what we're talking about now. So like, you know, you don't have to feel like you've got to like justify. I
Mhm.
already think you're a good player. So I think your either way, regardless of who you hack, even if you hack the Pharah, I think high ground here is probably ideal. Um,
Mhm.
it's gonna be like now that they have a diva, your life actually gets hard. Actually the next VOD that you send me, I actually want you to send me one where there was a diva that like was good and trying to give you trouble on Sombra because I think that's the real challenge of Sombra. You're right now you're kind of uncontested. But so let's see. Who do you? Okay, and then you go in an EMP.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. So we win. Okay, no.
That's fine. This is fine. Fights over. Okay, and you got the Pharah. You're like, okay. Now that I know your philosophy on Pharah, I understand you're gonna follow her to the death. And the beat didn't matter. That's okay. That's actually another great lesson about how to use EMP because you don't necessarily need to counter something directly. Like if you act quickly enough, and this is especially true in ranked, and I'm sure you've seen it happen, right? Your team goes in with a plan, you've got all the ults in the world, and somebody fucks up, they get in early and they kill somebody on your team and it doesn't matter, right? Then they like basically it takes like 2 or 3 more fights and by that point they get their ults back and then any window of opportunity you had on that one fight is gone because they acted faster than you, right?
Yeah.
And that's all they did is just act faster. And Sombra is very much like that. If you go in and EMP them real quick and get a kill like instantly, it doesn't matter what else they have. It's like they're going in with a 1 or 2 person disadvantage. Um, so like sometimes that is the right move. Is just like drop the ult if you know the kill's gonna follow up quickly enough from it, regardless of what they have. Because it's like doesn't matter what ults they have. If you don't need to respond to the ults by just killing their team, you know, do whatever's easiest.
Mhm.
I guess that's really the lesson. Do whatever's easiest to win that fight, and killing people is sometimes the easiest.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I gotta catch up on chat. I don't. 1v1s against a bot widow, sick. I mean, I'm sure I could look at your like strafing patterns and crosshair placement and stuff like that. Widow's 100, or I would say like 80% about crosshair placement and knowing where to stand and knowing how to dodge. Those are like the 3 things I think, and I'd be happy to help you with those. Um, okay, Woody, was this helpful? There's a lot of information.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. I would like let me think about the stuff that I would focus like, you know, if I had to put like simplify the list to like 3 things cuz like so like you know, like, since I'm a head coach, all of the stuff that I talk about ties back to like the bigger picture, what contributes to the win, what contributes to ult economy, stuff like that. So like I don't want to make this advice unhelpful because it's like too general. But like I want you to sort of like be thinking about I want you to kind of like try and level up your game sense because on Sombra it makes such a huge difference to be thinking like, you know, what's the one way they can win this fight? What's the one way we can lose this fight? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's how you get
Yes.
specific ideas of what to do. And I think like if you watch Sombra players on stream now, you might start to see, you know, I think the more time you start playing Sombra and the more you sort of like experience you get with that the role and sort of maybe even seeing other streamers, I think you'll see
Mm-hmm.
situations where it's like, oh, they made a like. There are a lot of situations where you watch the players and you're like, oh, that was actually you made a very specific choice and you just didn't say anything about it. You know, they just internalize. They do that stuff
Mm-hmm.
automatically. The good players, but you know, you and I, have to like figure it out and then think, oh, okay, that's what I need to do from now on. You know, we just we'll pick up the pieces from them, but that's really kind of I think that's yeah. So okay, to keep a simple list, I would say the big thing that you should do on Sombra right now is make sure that you are not out of the fight for a really long period of time. Make sure you're in the fight as long as
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Yeah.
Uh and that's it. Let's just leave it at one thing.
Yeah, and also a good thing about put translator around of supports. It's a good idea.
Yeah, right. Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing I like, so that one thing, make sure you're not out of the fight for too long. I think that wraps a lot of the stuff that we talked about in one concept, right? It's like so that's like your TP location, that's like where you're standing based on when they come in,
Mm-hmm.
what you're trying to deal with. It's like so I cheated. I gave you one thing to work on, but it's like 12 things to work on really. Um, but I think that's like if you can get that down, I think you're going to start noticing that you get EMP faster, that you win fights faster, and that you have more control
Yeah.
over the outcomes of the fights. Because I think your mid-fight hacks are really good, and the sooner you start doing that on a fight, I think the more likely your team is to win. So yeah, that's I think that's the only feedback I have. Is there anything like were there any things in there that you had questions about, or like just somber questions in general that like I can help you with?
Mm, I think I will have it in progress. Maybe.
Sure, sure, yeah, yeah. Happy to do a follow-up on this soon. Um, okay then. Well, cool.
All right.
Yeah, I hope this helped. And anybody who's still watching on stream next, if you're still here, good luck with your Russian. Um, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please tune in again soon if you're interested in more Overwatch coaching content, or please feel free to reach out to me on Twitch or Discord. And also, Woody, we have people here now. Please, what's where can people check out your stream?
What?
Your stream.
Ah, you need a link?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Can you let's see. Sorry, chat, one sec here. Are you posting it in my chat or no? You're not. Let me see. Okay, sorry, chat. But it's important. Yes, that. Okay, cool. Yeah, please check out Woody. Like I said, he is the best defragger in the world. If you're interested in that game, and I think it's a very impressive, fun game to watch, I would recommend checking out his stream. But thanks, Woody, for doing this. I enjoyed doing it. Love coaching, and thank you guys for hanging out and checking out the content. Hope to see you all soon. Take care, guys.